Statement of Micah Estratton. My name is Micah Estratton, and I'm 46 years old. I have a degree in mechanical engineering from Drexel University, and I've been working in the construction field since I turned 16. I've been a proud member of the International Union of Operating Engineers for over 25 years. From 2002 until 2006, I was a business manager of Local 542, a position akin to its president. I've also served on the board of directors of the Association of Crane and Rigging Professionals for a decade, and I regularly speak at the annual meeting of the Cranes Institute's certification classes. I have also received lifetime service awards from the Association of Wire Rope Fabricators. My mom founded Estratton Lift Systems. ELS is a Mid-Atlantic premier provider of specialty cranes and sling systems. There's no more special machine in the world, at least to me, than Fightin' Phil. When the Franklin's Trench incident happened, I'd been working with Phil almost exclusively for over 18 years. He's a marvel. Every 3 months, we try to take him down to do a full inspection for metal fatigue, and we check and clean all of his engine, transmission, and hydraulic components. Prior to August 31st, 2012, we'd never had a major accident, although we'd had our share of smaller mishaps. The worst was a snap drop, when the cable supporting the load snapped. That cost us nearly $1 million in insurance payouts. We hadn't inspected Phil in over 5 months when that happened, but after that, we started using a higher grade steel in the cables. It hurt our profits, sure, but at ELS, lives are the most important thing. ELS was contacted by Project Z in early 2011. We were going to task Big Tony, a smaller crane, to the job, but in April, Zilius told us the job was now going to conclude with lifts of 2 massive concave surfaces weighing 2,300 tons each. Big Tony's only rated to 2,300. I explained to Zilius that using a crane with a higher load rating would be safer. Zilius asked for the spec sheets for both cranes and decided to go with Phil, even though it meant paying a substantial extra fee to get Phil out of a prior contract. We erected Fightin' Phil in late September. My one concern was that the site supervisor, Emerson Turnkin, had us lifting even when those squatters were present. They weren't wearing hard hats, and they often would walk under the loads that could kill them, sometimes purposefully. We would then have to hold the load there until they left, putting a lot of unnecessary stress on the crane. I met with Zilius and Turnkin expressing my concerns. Zilius calmly told us to leave the squatters alone. In January 2012, things changed when Zilius visited the site. Downtime when we do the safety sweeps was cut back and accidents increased. Zilius and Turnkin were clearly now running the show, not OCIS. In April, we got some disturbing news. The completed panels weighed over 2,900 tons each. This was an especially significant problem because Phil has a normal maximum engineering load of 2,750 tons. A crane can lift a lot more than its maximum engineering load, which is generally set around 85% of its likely failure rating. But you need to request special permission for a load over engineering tolerance. I asked Turnkin to write the city right away, but we never heard back from them. Phil had done several loads between 2,800 tons and 3,000 tons in the 90s. The only issue we ever had was a broken hydraulic line on one of those super heavy lifts. That just meant we had to stop the lift for a quick repair. Also in April, we idled Phil and carefully inspected him for metal fatigue and replaced all the worn or weakened parts. We were especially careful since we knew that we probably would not get a chance again before the big lifts in August. I wasn't too worried though. His initial design tolerance was 5 months, and he's gone as long as 6 months twice before. By mid-April, he was good as new. By June, the intensity doubled again. Zilius was willing to do whatever had to be done to meet the October deadline. He added an overnight shift and even took up residence right above the site. By August 30th, everyone was anxious to get the big lifts done. If the hurricane hit without the roof in place, months of work would be ruined. Turnkin, Zilius, Grace from OCIS, and I worked the problem over and over. We knew there was a risk, but we felt it was worth it. And Grace didn't stop us. On August 31st, 2012, I started my shift a little before 7 a.m., walking the site, looking Phil over and going through my pre-lift checklists. We didn't have time for a complete safety inspection, but we had done one that Monday, and the code only requires one every week. Around 7:45, though, the foreman threw up a red flag. I later learned they found a wrench in Phil's gears. The resulting full site sweep ate up more than an hour. It was almost 10 a.m. when the roof lifted off. I almost lost control when the first big gust hit. Soon I got the hang of it, though, and I got it up to apex and slid it over. The panel was supposed to be lowered into place around noon, but we had started late, and the shifts on the ground changed, so I had to hold the panel in place for 30 minutes while the shifts changed and the new guys did their initial safety check. If that squatter hadn't hit the site, the timing would have been fine. Instead, we didn't touch down until almost 1:30. Weather-wise, things were getting worse. I was worried about the wind, so I called Turnkin and asked whether to proceed with the second lift. Zilius got on the phone and told me we were a go. Then around 2:15, I got a call from Grace asking if the lift was safe, given the load and the wind and the revised weather report that everyone got during the shift change at noon. I told her that the load and the wind were both within Phil's 100% tolerance, which was mostly true. A discussion took place in the manager's office, but eventually Grace gave me the green flag. I gave Phil a pat, and the second piece lifted at 2:45. Because I now had a feel for things, I got the second piece up more quickly. Around 3:10, I had it near apex when another red flag waved, so I had to stop. They didn't find anything wrong except a missing fire axe or something. I got on the horn and told them to hurry up, that we didn't have time for another hour-long sweep. I watched Zilius and Grace have some kind of discussion, but my eyes were mostly on that roof. At 3:20 or so, I saw the green flag wave again, and I started moving the panel again towards the roof. I am mostly certain it was Grace who gave the go signal, but like I said, it was tense up there and I was focused on the roof. The lift was smooth for about 5 minutes, but then Phil and I hit apex, the highest point of the lift. As the roof panel cleared the last building, it caught the wind fiercely. All of a sudden, I saw the low hydraulic pressure warning light blink on. I was reaching for the backup hydraulics when I heard the strut snap. I slammed the red airbag button as Phil came apart beneath me. I woke up in the ER. I have read Quinn Baxter's report, and I respect Quinn for all he's done for workers. But he treats every violation like it's a capital offense. Stuff happens. Tools get laid down wrong. But we know not to step on a rotary saw. Workers climb ladders that are too steep every day. And I can't remember anyone falling. Yeah, we should have been better about wearing our vests, but that's not what brought Phil down. I'll mourn for Grace, and for the squatter too, I guess. But they're not dead because we didn't fill out paperwork every time we checked the job site, or because someone left the keys in one of the trucks. I've wondered how Phil could have failed. For the first few weeks, I thought it must have been the sheer force of the wind. But then I heard about that squatter and that fire axe. If he'd chopped my hydraulic lines at the wrong time, that could have slowed the spin enough to tip Phil over. Of course, even a brand new hydraulic kit can snap from the stress the gusting winds and a big lift bring. Still, I'm sure I had Phil under control. I just know I did. I had the green flag, too. Signed and sworn to before me this 7th day of December, 2012. Signed, Micah Estratton.